So the question of the hour, or the day, is whether the real estate market is about to drop or is it going to continue to climb upward? Well, today I'm going to talk about the future of real estate and what you need to know to make the best real estate decisions. And if you hang in to the end, I'm going to talk about how you can even make money when the real estate market goes down. All right, so just to answer your question really quickly, is the real estate market about to drop? Personally, this is my opinion. I don't have a crystal ball. It broke a long time ago, but I would say yes, in some places it will. Because the truth is that different real estate markets have different responses. Now, the ones that have been hot, the ones that always hear about in the media, this is like California, Arizona, like Phoenix, or Tampa, Florida, and places like that, even in Texas. The places that become hot, and literally some of them are hot, even Vegas, right? They become hot markets because they tend to have big swings. Those are the ones that are newsworthy. Those are the ones you're gonna hear about. And yes, I think they will. Personally, I'm not buying any properties at all in the western half of the United States. Why? Because I believe the prices are too high, especially if you want to make good profits when you're trying to make money in real estate. Doesn't mean you can't make money in these places, it just means it's harder. So yes, some places will drop. I think other places will remain more stable and possibly even go up. So how do you find the ones that aren't dropping? So the key is this. It's not about what you know as much as about who you know. You can't know about everything all at once. It's really hard to know about the whole real estate market, but what I do personally is I know people in each of these different markets. I have connections in other places. So I get to hear real time what real estate investors are dealing with, right? What are they dealing with? How's the market looking? Is there more demand for rentals? Is there not? Is it driving prices up? Are people moving there? Are they moving away? Like for example, in New York State, as we know, things got crazy after a little virus went around and people moved away. They said, I'm out of here. Let's get out of this place and move to Florida, which is why everybody talks about how much Florida has grown. People said, man, I don't have to deal with this crap. I don't have to deal with politics and I don't have to deal with the weather. Florida it is. And now they're gonna realize they're gonna be sweating a lot and all wet and drippy and stuff. So the best way to know that is finding people in those markets. Now you may not know everybody in those places and that's okay, because sometimes what you can do is you can actually find good companies that are in those areas. When I buy rentals, I like to use turnkey real estate companies. Now some of them are very geographically focused to one place. Some of them might just be in St. Louis, Missouri, for example. Some might be in Oklahoma. Some might be in Indianapolis, some might be in Memphis, Tennessee, right? And others might have multiple places that they're in. The good news is if you have a good network of those people, you can pick and choose which ones are looking the best. But here's the thing. If you're a real estate investor and you really understand how this all works, yes, we don't want the market to drop on us naturally, but the truth is that we know that it doesn't matter whether the market drops or not, because if our focus is about cash flow, achoo! As real estate investors, we know that the number one thing we look for is not about appreciation, about whether the value of the property goes up or down, because we know how to make money even when it drops. And how do you do that? It's focus on cash flow, profit. How do you make sure that you still make money on the rents even though the market drops? Because the truth is that if you hold on to a real estate property, but a renter keeps paying you month after month, the value doesn't matter as much, does it? The value only matters if you try to sell it. So if the market does happen to drop, let's just say it drops nationwide on all of us everywhere. Well, if I have a property that's profitable, that's paying me each and every month, I'm not gonna sell it off. In other words, I'm not gonna kill off the golden goose that's laying those golden eggs, right? And even if that goose doesn't get any fatter, it doesn't matter. That goose is still laying those nice little, I was gonna say juicy, but you don't want juicy. We want nice, solid 24 karat golden eggs. That's what we want coming out, right? Not juicy ones, that's gross. We want 24 karat golden eggs coming out each and every month. That is the key that real estate investors think about, even if markets go up or down. We don't worry about it. We don't worry about the drop, because the truth is, it's always about how much profit do we make on those properties. That should also be your number one focus. It's not about whether the values go up or down. In fact, great advice I've learned, never, ever, ever bank on appreciation. Never bank that something's gonna go up in value and that's the only way you make money. That's exactly what the gamblers do. That's what the amateurs do. And that's what they end up losing in real estate. And then they are the ones that make the news that you end up hearing about and saying, oh, real estate's risky. The truth is, if you focus on profit and cash flow, make that your number one rule, your priority, you really won't worry about that stuff. In fact, you'll say, hey, even if the market goes up, bonus, that's appreciation, right? I've had rentals where they've gone up and it's increased my value 20, 30, 40%. Awesome. But you know what's even better? I got paid each and every month throughout that period of time. That is where real freedom comes from. That's where the real power is. So don't worry about the market dropping as much. Now, I do agree, don't buy in hot markets. Usually markets you want to buy in are things like where more the tertiary markets, right? The ones that are more smaller markets. So for example, right now, just kind of give you guys a little hint, one of the places that can be kind of good is Arkansas. Who knew, besides the Clintons coming out of there and Ozark, right, that Arkansas could actually be a good place to make money? That's one place you look at. Very unassuming. Nobody talks about it. You don't really hear about it in the media. Everybody's talking about Texas or Florida or Phoenix or California, but you never really hear about Arkansas, do you? Nobody really cares about them. That's great. You want that. The Carolinas, another great place. Sometimes Tennessee, Alabama has been a great place for me as well. Even parts of Texas, not in the big metro communities, but outside, almost the more rural or more suburban areas, there's still been some good stuff out there. But again, if you're just starting out, or if you're just somebody who's only dabbled a little bit in real estate, I recommend you do not try to just go and buy whatever properties in those areas just because I say it. Because who's to say that you're not watching this video down the road when things shift and change and that opportunity is gone? What really matters, you have the right connections, you have the right team around you, the right people around you to know when's the right time and where. Best way to do that is, like I said, is finding good turnkey real estate companies or having a group, like what we do ourselves, not to be self-serving, but that's one thing we do in our group is we actually help people find those properties. So I'll give you an example. I had a client here recently where they had a couple properties and they were good, but this property was in California, right? And this client particularly, he had $700,000 of equity in this property, tons of equity, but his net cash flow was only $200 a month. Now this is something that we find all the time. Whenever somebody has anything on the West Coast, usually we're saying, yeah, you might want to sell it now, especially if you've made a lot of money in appreciation. I do agree, by the way, West Coast is going to get hit some of the hardest when it comes to markets going down. Well, he's now looking at moving that $700,000 out, doing what's called a 1031 exchange. That means you move the equity out from that property and you move it to other properties, property or properties, right? And it moves over tax-free. So you don't get taxed on the sale of that property. You just move the equity over to more properties and it's tax-free. Guess what? Where before he's making $200 a month or about $2,400 a year, he's now able to make over $70,000 a year with that same equity. So guys, it's not just about where you buy the property. It's not about whether it goes up or down. It doesn't matter. Because I can guarantee, even if the markets drop with the properties he's buying right now, which they may or may not do, most likely it probably won't drop if they drop at all. But even if they did, who cares? He's making $70,000 a year passively for a property that was only making him $200 a month before. Does that make sense? So again, it's not about whether it's the market's going to drop or not. For us real estate investors, it's always about that number one rule, which is cash flow and passive income, profit. Okay, guys. So here's the thing. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click like, comment. What do you think? What areas are you looking at right now? Do you think the market's going to drop? What do you think is going to happen next? So if you like this video and you're wondering about the market downturns and what will happen, check out this next one. I'm talking about how to profit in a market downturn, where you can figure out how to make money even if the markets are going down. Check that out now.